Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready?
An epic meltdown from the ex-president this afternoon, speaking with three journalists at the National Association of Black Journalists Conference in Chicago. A conversation that imploded right before our very eyes on live TV, essentially right out of the gates. Trump immediately breaking into a tirade against the first moderator, Rachel Scott of ABC News, who asked him about his past comments on race. And then Trump questioned Vice President Kamala Harris's racial identity. Take a listen.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir,
of
I'm
that.
asking you a question,
No,
a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So, I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly, very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She is always identified as a Black woman. She went to a historically Black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that, too, when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans have said?
I really don't know. Could be.
It's amazing he's gotten away with that for as long as he has. But it appears to be over. The 35-minute conversation was like that basically throughout. It remained contentious. Trump even defended his Black jobs comment in a room full of Black journalists.
I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking Black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a Black job, sir?
A Black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
Vice President Kamala Harris's response to all of this: absolute disaster for Donald Trump. This is who he is. A source close to Vice President Harris tells NBC News in response to Trump's claim that she, quote, became Black, quote, "It is simply a lie and easily disproved. She went to Howard, for Christ's sake. She's an AKA," referring, of course, to the historically African-American sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was in the middle of her briefing when Trump's comments were taking place. She first laughed in shock and then said this.
As a person of color, as a Black woman who is in this position that is standing before you at this podium behind this lectern, what he just said, what you just read out to me, is repulsive, it's insulting, and, you know, no one has any right to tell someone who they are, how they identify. That is no one's right. It is someone's own decisions. It is I'll add this. Only she can speak to her experience. Only she can speak to what it's like. She's the only person that can do that. And I think it's insulting for anybody. It doesn't matter if it's a former leader, a former president. It is insulting. And we have to put, she is the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. We have to put some respect on her name.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Gloomy day here today in Maine, and very humid. You know, it looked like there was some cloud breaks, but that didn't last long, and therefore it's just a very cloudy, gloomy day today. I guess it kind of goes with the mood of the country right now after what Donald Trump had done there in Chicago. I suppose all of you probably already know already, but I mean, he showed up at the National Association of Black Journalists, their annual convention, and right from the get-go, I mean, the first thing, you know, when he walked out on the stage, he started right in, boy. I mean, there was no fucking hesitation. And as you saw in the clip here before, you know, he just wouldn't let up. You know, he was throwing out every friggin' trope that he usually talks about when it concerns, you know, black people and stuff like that. I mean, he just, you know, this is how you lose an election, people. This is how you lose an election, what he did today. Okay. Yeah, I could hear there were some supporters in the background when he was saying shit. But I kind of wonder after 35 minutes how they felt after hearing all this crap. I guess maybe it doesn't matter to them because they all think the same, right? But, you know, for Trump, you know, it's very difficult for him not to come out in such a negative, racist manner. Because, you know, all his life, he spoke down to people, you know, the minorities in this country. You know, the N-word flew wild in that house he grew up in, okay? And the people he hung around with, Jeffrey Epstein and all them, same fucking thing. All racist motherfuckers, every one of them, okay? And so this is a guy is expected to act very diplomatic in his speech, and he hasn't done it yet. He can't do it. He doesn't know how. You could sit this fucking guy in a school, you know, to teach him how to be diplomatic and stuff, and he wouldn't. He'd flunk. He'd fucking flunk, you know. And you know, and it's funny that he thinks that being a prosecutor is such a stupid thing, you know. But has he taken the bar? Has he taken the bar to get a license to practice law? Okay. He wouldn't pass. How he passed business school is a mystery. You know, maybe his daddy gave him some help there. I don't know. But he's a terrible businessman. But he's going to criticize someone who's 30 times smarter than he is. Oh, she's just a fucking prosecutor. You know, what the hell? You know, his problem is it's a woman and she's black, and he don't want to run against that. It's insulting to him. You know, that he's where he is. But you know what I also saw on that stage when he was there talking today? Defeatism. I really think he's worried now he's going to lose. I felt it, you know, with the way he was talking and stuff, you know, and just being mean-spirited right from the get-go when he walked out. It just seemed to me like he's had it. Like, I don't give a fuck what I do now. You know, sort of like that. If I'm going to lose big. You know, you're trying to destroy it for everybody. You know, he's got that attitude because he doesn't. I think he's seeing the possibility more than ever now that he's probably not going to win this election. Okay, and that means a lot for him consequentially. You know, he's going to have to answer to a lot of things that he's been shielded from up to this point. That shield is going to be gone when he loses, and he's going to have no choice but to answer for his crimes. That's what's going to happen. And when he finally answers to that, you know, the power of this fucking guy is going to diminish, and he'll end up falling into the cracks of history as a bad footnote, you know, or a bad moment in America where our judgment was tainted, you know, by an egomaniac, okay? And it's going to be a moment in time where everyone is going to have to draw lessons from in the future, so that way people will make smarter choices from here on out, okay? The smarter choice here in this election is Kamala Harris, okay? She's the best chance for America. The other side, their best chance for a destroyed America is Donald Trump. They don't want this country to exist. Everything that they're all for concerning him is about the ultimate end of democracy in America. That's what they want. They don't want a democracy anymore. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. You know, and part of the reason I think why is because they don't participate in the system as they should, like a lot of people do, okay? And they're in the habit of blaming other people for the problems that they have, okay? They never really blame or look at themselves to see how they could improve on themselves so they can do better. They don't do that. They blame everybody around them, you know? And people like that, you can convince that, oh, the country doesn't work and it shouldn't be around and all this and yada, 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 you know, the Trump whole thing, okay? It's easy to convince people like that because it's easier to hate than it is to accept that you need to change yourself, you know, in order to improve where you're standing in the world, okay? I mean, that's really what, all these people in our life, in our world, that are rich, that are politicians, that are judges, that are anything, you think those jobs were handed to them on a silver platter? No. They worked, they busted their ass off in school, and they strove to get to those points, okay? Yeah, some of them had a good head start because they had the financial backing. A lot of them didn't, okay? But, you know, yes. And for a lot of people in America, they should take that as an example that, hey, you know, if I don't like where I am now, it's up to me to decide whether I should change or not, okay? To blame, you know, the people around me for succeeding when I can't is really folly. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere. It just makes you hate, you know, until you're dead. Where's the fucking logic in that, you know? So I think that Donald Trump gives them the feeling that, oh, he can change it for me, so I don't have to do all the work. He's going to destroy the whole country and then rebuild it so I can have a chance. No, he's not. Sorry to tell you that, but he ain't doing a damn thing. He's going to destroy the country, but when he changes it, when it changes, according to what's in that manifesto, the Project 2025, it's going to be even more inclusive to just the elite, you know, in this country, and there'll be more of us on the outside looking in, wishing that we could have the American dream. And that's going to include every Republican, unless they're wealthy, but that's going to include most Republicans, because, you know, a lot of them, you know, in poverty, we're all going to be in the same boat together, you know, Republicans and Democrats, we're all going to be in the same thing together. So at the end of the day, they're trying to avoid, you know, something like that, but they're going to walk right into it because they pin their hopes on the wrong person. The guy, the orange Jesus. Okay, they pin their hopes on the wrong thing. Okay, and the whole idea that he's in this for himself should be a blaring red alert to MAGA out there. Okay, if he's in this for himself, he ain't thinking about you. Okay, you know, but he's all in this so that way he can sidestep the law and not have to answer for his crimes, and that's why he's running for president. It has nothing to do about improving the country. No, he wants to see it destroyed. He doesn't have to do anything if he wants to see it destroyed, but he wants to make sure that he's absolved of having to go to prison before the shit flies. Okay, And that's what he's doing. That's what he's fucking doing. Okay? And I hope that enough people are smart enough to see that and understand that, you know, he's not the thing. He's not the one. Okay? He's not the one to keep America healthy and moving along. But Kamala Harris is. Okay? Kamala Harris is. And I know a lot of people out there are going to say, oh, she's black, she's this, she's that. Okay? I don't care. Okay, if that's the only reason why you're not going to vote for her, then please don't vote at all. Just stay home, because we don't need your vote. All right? That's a hate vote is what that is. If you're not going to vote for her because it's a woman or it's black, or you know what I'm saying? Don't even bother. You're not American if you're voting like that. You might as well just take that ballot and set it on fire, because we don't want to hear from you. You know? You're just in it to throw monkey wrenches in the gearbox so this whole system breaks, and then you say, see, it doesn't work. You know? That's what you guys do. You break it and then you blame everybody for it being broke. But yeah, I mean, what happened in Chicago there, I mean, it's no surprise to people who know Trump, especially his family. They probably saw this coming a mile away. I certainly did. You know, and I just feel like, you know, when he you could see the look on his face when he stepped out onto the stage. Okay, for one thing, he didn't like walking out on the stage to the music that was playing. Okay, he didn't like that. That's why it was such a hesitation for him to come out. Okay, then he sits down, and the way he was staring, you know, at the interviewer there, I mean, you could see there was like disdain and, you know, guarded. This kind of atmosphere, you know, he was ready to bite somebody's head off when he got out there, okay? And this whole malarkey about, oh, you were 30 minutes, that's bullshit, and you know it, okay? He's usually the one that's late. He's late to his own fucking rallies most of the time. All right, so, you know, this is what you get when you put some knucklehead on a campaign trail to the White House. All right, let's go to a commercial break. We'll be back.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Carrie Lake and Donald Trump. At first, they admitted they wanted a national abortion ban.
I don't think abortion pills should be legal.
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman.
Yeah, there has to be some form.
Now, they're pretending they won't back the ban if they're elected. They're lying.
This total ban on abortion is out of line with where the people of this state are.
Did Arizona go too far?
Yeah, they did, and that'll be straightened out.
I agree with President Trump. This is such a personal and private issue.
Two frauds desperately running from the truth and from their real position. She backed the ban, and he's still bragging about ending Roe.
That I was able to terminate Roe v. Wade, and I'm proud to have done it. I was so honored to have done it.
They'll ban all abortion, even to save a mother's life. They'll end IVF, and they'll ban birth control. Donald Trump and Carrie Lake, they're the same. They're dishonest, deceptive, and dangerous for every woman.
What is a failed coup? Is it a loss? A defeat? A victory for the good guys? What happens to those who perpetrated the coup? Are there consequences? Or do they remain in power? And if they do, when are we safe? What will stop them next time?
Donald Trump's campaign is obsessed with the past. He's willing to sacrifice our democracy, put himself in power. Not America, not you.
A failed coup with no consequences is just a training exercise for the next attack.
I am your voice. I am your warrior. I am your justice. I am your retribution.
And make no mistake, they're going to try again. Unless you stop them.
What will you tell your kids? That you voted for a felon and a criminal, supported a man found guilty by a citizen jury, went into the voting booth happy to pull the lever for the only former president in history to bear the mark of criminal shame. Will you tell them that breaking the law is how they should live their lives? That lying to their families about porn stars and hush money is how they should behave? Do you want your son to treat women like a man who was found to have committed sexual assault? Do you want your daughter to be a victim of a man like him?
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
Hey, when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Whatever you want. Grab them by the...
Will you tell them that he was honest, that he was a good man?
Very fine people on both sides.
That he treated people the way you've taught them?
Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Will you tell them you're proud of his cruelty? Happy with the ugly insults?
I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers.
The attacks on women and the endless lies that the chaos, death, and danger he brought was worth it. We know it's hard to walk away and put country over party, but your kids are watching. You're not just voting for your future, you're voting for theirs.
Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree.
You're a criminal, Donald. That's what the jury said. Not the deep state. Not the Democrats. Not the Biden administration. A jury. Regular people who saw the evidence and felt sick. You're a criminal. And you did it to yourself.
Nobody's ever seen anything like this. It's a shame.
Your defense was weak because you're weak. They had no argument because there is no argument. You were too scared to testify because you knew Donald. You know. You're guilty. Guilty as sin. Guilty as charged.
For President Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance.
Terrible candidate, idiot if you voted for him, might be America's Hitler, might be a cynical a-hole, cultural heroine, noxious and reprehensible.
I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place. He's leading our political discourse to a very negative place. If Trump is elected president, he has to be a much different president than he was a candidate. As a candidate, he was fundamentally divisive, arrogant. I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country. Including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and, you know, and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said you can't do it with Zoom. Well, you know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was
Mr. President,
wrong.
I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your
question.
rhetoric and why you
I have
believe that
answered the
black voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on.
Okay, welcome back. Now, as you saw in that video clip, he, like I said, the way he dragged his feet out on the stage here while the music was playing, you could tell he was fucking pissed. Okay. When he sat down the way he did, you know, and the answer that came out of his mouth wasn't even an answer. It was a fucking implosion. You know what I'm saying? He just couldn't wait to go on the offensive, okay, when he got out there. And, you know, I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe, you know, in some way, and I'm just gonna toss this out there. I don't even know if there's any truth behind it at all. MAGA knows Trump, okay, or at least they think they do. What in the fucking world were they thinking, having him appear, you know, at that convention? Of all conventions to put this man in, they picked that to have him go have a question and answer thing, you know. What the hell were they thinking? You know? I mean, here they are trying to keep him from debating Kamala Harris, and they walk him right into that snake pit. You know? Is it that they're deliberately trying to dirty his image up more because they know he's going to shoot his big mouth off, and they deliberately had him go to this thing just to diminish him all the more? I mean, maybe that's what's going on. Maybe the MAGA cult, or the leaders in the MAGA cult, are giving up or washing their hands of him now. Maybe this is their attempt, because they know they're probably going to lose, and it's better to start washing their hands of him now before the election, so that way they can hit the ground running after November, you know, or something, with somebody else, a fresh face or something. I don't know. But it just seems to me like, you know, for a minute it sounded like they had a plan, and then all of a sudden they did the opposite. You know, it's like, first, no, we're not going to have you debate Kamala because she's going to wipe the floor with you, but we're going to put you at this convention in Chicago where, you know, the end result would still be the same, you know, only he would wipe himself up off the floor because of the way he talks. He puts his foot deep in his mouth, you know, every time he talks about things that he was asked about, racial issues. He cannot help himself. He just can't. You know, he's done this for so many decades in his life, being so mean-spirited about black people and Latinos and people that aren't, you know, white enough for him. He's been like that his whole damn life. And, you know, and I think his father was probably that way too. You know, people don't grow up being this way unless they, you know, they're exposed to it, you know, at an early age. Okay, so I think the N-word flew heavily in that house on a daily basis, and you know, he just he soaked it up, you know, because nobody was there to tell him that was wrong. You know, I feel like that's, you know, kind of part of it, why he's that way. Another part could be he's mentally unstable. I mean, maybe it was from birth, it was undiagnosed or something. I don't know. I mean, Christ, consider the year he was born in. You know, mental health in them days was a very crude, you know, and violent kind of thing, you know, for people. So, like I said, I think, you know, it was really laughable in a way that, I mean, almost like a Saturday Night Live skit. Let's have Donald Trump go, you know, be questioned in a black car. Everybody knows he hates black people, okay? I mean, that's sort of like, you know, this is going to be a fucking circus, you know? I mean, Saturday Night Live couldn't have done this. I mean, if they do a skit on this, it's going to be funny, but, you know, it couldn't be any more funny than it is already. The fact that, you know, he unzipped his fly in front of everybody and showed just how bigoted and racist he is, okay? You know, like, people can change their race like that. Oh, first she was Indian, now she's black. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, that goes to show you just how dim-witted he is, you know, to say something like that. And he wasn't joking. He wasn't joking when he said it, because you didn't hear too much laughing about it. I mean, except for the ones way in the back that were probably in his corner. But, you know, he didn't say it with a smile or anything like that, like he was joking. No. He was serious. He was serious about everything he was saying. And the fact that, you know, he doesn't have the common sense to think that maybe this is going to be used against me in a campaign ad. You know, he doesn't realize that every word he says is being recorded, and it's going to get used over and over and over again until, you know, it beats down the poll numbers, you know, that, or the approval numbers that he thinks he has, okay? You know, and this is why he can't be president, because he can't think on that level. You know, it's like, you know, a guy playing two-dimensional chess against a guy who plays three-dimensional chess, okay? Different fucking thinking altogether. He can't play it. He's just unskilled in that manner, and the fact is, you know, he's unskilled in a lot of things. things that he tried to do in his life and failed at. This is just another one of those things that he's trying to do and he's failing at. He failed when he was president. Okay, that's how he lost his second term. Because, you know, by the time the 4th year was up, America was ready to shift gears and get the hell out of Dodge. I mean, okay, they had it up to here. But a lot of people forgot just how bad it was. You know, see, we had it good under Biden because he made us forget how bad things were. You know, so I feel like this is really, it's comical, but it's sad, dangerous, you know, all those things. You know, if it wasn't serious, I guess it would be funny as hell. But you know, it's not. I mean, it's not funny, and you know, really, the idea that he's even a contender for the White House after everything that he's done, after everything that we know about him and his personality and stuff, is an insult to this country. It's an insult to the election system. Okay, we're supposed to have safeguards in place to keep people like that out. Okay, we really are. We're supposed to have a system in place so that way, you know, the best of us can be in there in the White House, and not just anybody. Okay, nobody ever said anybody, you know, could be a president. No, it's up to the people to decide who the person's going to be. Anybody, yeah, sure, anybody, as long as you got the personality and you're presidential and you're smart and everything. But, you know, not everybody can fit that category, and Trump never did. Trump never did. From day one, he never did. Okay? He's just a showboat and circus clown. That's all he is. That's all he'll ever be. You know, and why he doesn't stick to what he does best by entertainment or something like that, I don't know. I really don't know. It wasn't enough for him, I guess. I don't know. But certainly that's where he should have kept his interest, was doing reality shows and showing up on the wrestling gig and all that shit once in a while, and you know, just being a caricature of himself, you know. Really, I mean, that's the best he was ever going to be in life because of how he is. To be a politician, you know, it's you know, you got to be a person of a different caliber to be able to sit there as a politician in any seat of government, okay? Not just anybody. I mean, we've already got people that shouldn't be in power right now, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, you know, and Matt Gaetz. We got all these people who shouldn't even be anywhere within a mile of fucking Washington, D.C., sitting there doing a job they're not meant to do, okay? They got a calling, or they think they got a calling to do that job, but no. It wasn't a calling. They just had the idea that, oh, I can get wealthy and rich, you know, if I do this, and I can be a president. You know, that's what they were looking at, the money. If it wasn't for the money element, they probably wouldn't even have bothered. They probably wouldn't have bothered. They'd have just stayed home. That'd have been all of it. You know, that's why I say we got to get the money out of politics. That would clean up the system quite a bit, you know. And someday, in some generation, they'll wake up and realize, oh, this was the answer to the problem all along. Let's get the money out of politics. What a brainstorm that would be, right? You know, Christ. All right, well, let me see here. There's this article here I want to read before I close up here for today. This is from PBS News, and it's entitled, Trump Claims Harris, who is married to a Jewish man, doesn't like Jewish people. Former President Trump, in an interview on Tuesday, claimed Vice President Kamala Harris, who was married to a Jewish man, quote, doesn't like Jewish people, unquote, and seemed to agree with a radio host who called second gentleman Doug Emhoff, quote, a crappy Jew, unquote. Trump, in an interview on WABC radio on Tuesday, claimed Harris looked uncomfortable while meeting last week with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Quote, you can see the disdain, unquote, he said, adding, quote, no, number one, she doesn't like Israel. Number two, she doesn't like Jewish people. You know it, I know it, and everybody knows it, and nobody wants to say it, unquote. Trump has tried to capitalize on divisions in the Democrat Party over the Israel-Hamas war and sought to paint his political opponents as anti-Semitic while overlooking some of his own past comments and behavior, such as dining in his Florida club with a Holocaust-denying white nationalist. With Harris replacing President Joe Biden as the likely Democratic presidential nominee, Trump has escalated his attacks on her. America, quote, America is better than the fear, hate, and despicable insults of Donald Trump, unquote, said James Singer, a spokesperson for the Harris campaign. Quote, Vice President Harris believes Americans want a president who unites our country instead of divides it, uses the power of the presidency to help families instead of hurt them, and has a vision for our future instead of taking us backwards, unquote. In the interview, the Republican former president repeated comments he has made before lashing out at Jewish voters who back Democrats, saying anyone who does, quote, should have their head examined, unquote, and, quote, if you're Jewish, if you vote for a Democrat, you're a fool, an absolute fool. They have let Jewish people down since Obama at a level that nobody could believe, unquote. He goes with that, you know, enlarging the, you know, grandiose, oh, the world never see. As Trump continued on, he again said of Harris, quote, she dislikes Jewish people and Israel even more than Biden did, unquote. The interview host, he just said that, you know, he didn't really know Harris personally or anything like that, but now he's saying he's going to speak for her and say she hates Jewish people more than Biden ever did, right? And so now he knows her, right? The interview host, Sid Rosenberg, then mentioned Harris's husband, second gentleman Doug Emhoff, and said, quote, he's Jewish like Bernie Sanders is Jewish. Are you kidding me? Unquote. Quote, yeah, unquote, Trump said. Quote, he's a crappy Jew, unquote, Rosenberg said, continuing. Quote, yeah, unquote, Trump said again. Rosenberg went on saying of Emhoff, quote, he's a horrible Jew, unquote. They then moved on to criticizing Harris on other issues. Trump made a similar claim about Harris disliking Jewish people on Friday while speaking to a Christian group at a Turning Point USA gathering in Florida. He has also ignited blowback in the past for making similar remarks about Jewish people, like when he said in March that Jews who vote for Democrats, quote, unquote, hate Israel and hate their religion. Emhoff, the first Jewish person to serve as the spouse of a nationally elected U.S. leader, has been one of the most visible members of the Biden administration speaking about combating anti-Semitism. He hung mezuzahs on the doorpost of the vice president's residence and led Passover celebrations at the White House. Emhoff's office declined to comment. Trump's campaign has also criticized Emhoff's adult daughter Ella for posting on her social media account a fundraising link for the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees. Israel has sought to ban the group and suggest it supports terrorists. European leaders have said that is a baseless accusation. Rosenberg, who is Jewish, is a longtime conservative New York City radio personality who hosts, quote, Sid and Friends in the Morning, unquote, on 77 WABC. Guests on his show have included Trump world figures like Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump Jr. Goes to show you what kind of show that is, huh? Rosenberg came to prominence as a sidekick and sports anchor on Don Imus's long-running morning radio show. He drew backlash in 2001 for making racist comments, calling tennis star Venus Williams an quote-unquote animal, and saying that she and her sister Serena should pose for National Geographic magazine. He was fired from Imus's show over those remarks, but reappeared on the show later and was involved in the incident that got Imus fired in 2007, in which Imus made a racist and misogynist remark about the mostly black Rutgers University's women's basketball team. Oh, so how the racism and bigotry surrounds the GOP, right? You know, the MAGA movement. It's saturated with it, you know. The only thing Trump should have didn't do that he should have done when he walked out on that stage in Chicago was he should have put a hood on, white hood. That's what he should have done. He should have walked right out there with a white hood on. At least then people could, when he was talking the way he was talking, they would understand. Okay, You know, it makes all the sense in the world now. Because he's a bigot, he's a racist, he's a fucking white supremacist. Okay? You only hear the shit that he says in rallies like that, where they're out burning a cross and there's somebody out there hollering and screaming like Adolf Hitler, you know, talking about black people. That's what you hear. He'd be a guest at one of those fucking things, okay? He'd be happy to show up at one of those fucking things, you know? But that's what he should have done. He should have walked out of there dressed all in white, you know, big robe there with a nice big hood there with 2 holes. That's what he should have did, you know? Because at least then there would, you know, the pretense would be gone that he's a possible contender for the White House. At least then people would see him as he is and get the message that he's not your friend, that he's not your candidate for president, that he's not there for you, okay? He's there for himself and himself alone, okay? That's it. That's all he's doing. He's just there for himself. He doesn't care if anybody's cheering him or booing him or anything like that. He's going to stay right there and run his fucking mouth, you know, until he's done, okay? Those rallies and stuff, those are gifts for him, because it gives him a chance to shout out to the rooftops his racism and bigotry so people will hear it. That's what he wants. He wants people to hear it. He doesn't care about what it does to him politically, because you know MAGA's been behind the scenes trying to guide him in a better direction so he'll win, but he don't listen. He didn't listen the last time when January 6th happened. Where people were telling him, you need to stop this, you need to stop. No. He ain't stopping nothing, okay? He didn't listen to people back then. He's still not going to listen to people now. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, okay? What makes these people think he's any better or more capable now to be president than he was then? No evidence. No fucking evidence at all. These people are just hoping that his charisma will be enough to get them into the White House. But Kamala Harris, she's beaten down that charisma pretty tough there in the last couple weeks here. Her campaign has really smashed his ass here in the approval numbers. Okay, picking up a lot of independent voters along the way, and that's not good for him, for Trump. And if he really wants to win, he'd be more guarded about what he says. You know, and he'd avoid situations where his mouth will take over and sink him. You know, it would be poetic karma, I guess, if you will, poetic justice, that, you know, he gets on a debate and ruins himself. So, you know, you know what I'm saying? So he wouldn't win either, you know, like what happened with Biden. You know, he gets up on the stage during the debate and, you know, people didn't like his performance. Well, I think the same thing has to happen to him. He's going to have to get up on the stage and do badly. So that way, you know, it sinks into the public's mind that, you know, he shouldn't even be president either, you know, and there really is only one choice left, you know. Whether you like her or not, she's the one that knows how to drive the fucking bus. Okay? She's the one that knows how to do this job. And if you leave her be and you let her have her job and let her do it well, she could do some wonders for this country that people thought would never happen. But you got to let her do her work. You know, leave her the fuck alone. Let her do her damn job. Okay? Don't be sore losers or something like that. Just let her do her damn work. But no, that's not what MAGA does. From day one, when Biden became president, they were after him, nipping at his heels like a pack of chihuahuas. You know, they just can't stop. They can't help themselves. The party is so diminished, the Republican group, they're so diminished that they're not even a viable fucking political party in this country anymore. I don't think they are. I don't think they stand for anything that would define a political party in America. Okay? They're anti-everything. All right? So they're more of a terrorist organization. I mean, how would you describe the Nazi party in Germany after, you know, they didn't believe in the ideals of their own government then. right? So they're the anti-government party, so they can't be a party in the system because their whole purpose is to undo everything. All right, they're the enemy. They're the terrorist group. These are the people who are going to try to trip up the system for everybody else. When they need the help, they're going to be there to stop it. So what do you do? What do you let them stay in politics, or do you take steps to remove them from the system, so that way they're no longer a brick wall in front of progress in our country? America's got to evolve. Whether they put up a wall or not, it's coming down. We're moving forward, because time moves forward. We can't go back. We cannot go back, like Kamala says. We can't redo those years all over again with Trump, okay? We can't. It's too much. America, it might be strong, but it's not invulnerable, okay? It won't survive another Trump presidency. I'm telling you right now, I know this is a fact. I see what they're going to do, and America is going to die, and it's going to become something hideous, and nobody's going to like it. Nobody, not even the Republicans. So anyway, that's it for today, and I'll talk to you guys at another time. So please subscribe, comment, and share, and keep your ears open for health matters, and treat each other kind out there, and stay cool. I know there's a lot of heat out there. It's probably one of the hottest summers we've had ever. But yeah, stay cool. Stay, you can always go outside when the sun is down, or sometime when it's cooler then, and you can go outside a little bit, or be near, go to the beach or something, the water, if it ain't poisoned or full of radiation. we really are in a pickle with this fucking. All right, so I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.